Costa Rica has a lot to offer. The country's home to rainforest, beaches, stable democracy, and a tax system that leaves your foreign-sourced income alone. The country's also been described as a good first step to Latin America for unseasoned travelers because by comparison, the country is incredibly stable and expat-friendly. It's also long been a popular destination for medical tourism as people in North America travel to Costa Rica looking for high-quality healthcare at affordable prices. But if you're planning to move to Costa Rica in 2026, you should be aware of the rising living cost as well as the 40,000 application backlog for a permanent residency. In this video, we'll break down the legal pathways to Costa Rica and what each one actually requires. This should be a great starting point to determine if Costa Rica is right for you. First, let's start with the baseline. If you're from the US, Canada, the UK, most of the EU, or Australia, you get a 180-day tourist visa on arrival. This is why many people try to live in the country as a perpetual tourist, leaving every 6 months to reset the clock. However, it's important to note that there's a legal rule against re-entering on a tourist visa from your home country twice in a row. Enforcement is inconsistent, and there's a proposed law that would tighten this even further. So living in the country as a perpetual tourist doing visa runs isn't a great long-term plan. If you do work remotely, however, the country's Digital Nomad Visa is a perfect option. You need $3,000 a month in income if you're single and $4,000 a month if you're a family, as well as a year's worth of documented bank statements. Government fees to apply are less than $200, and you get a year visa that's renewable once. Your foreign income stays untaxed, and you can bring in your work equipment duty-free. The catch is that this visa does not lead to permanent residency. For people who want an actual pathway to residency, there are three main options. First, the Rentista visa requires $2,500 a month in passive income for 2 years or a $60,000 deposit that gets drawn down over that period. The Pensionado visa requires a lifetime pension of at least $1,000 a month and there's no age minimum. And finally, there's the Inversionista visa, which requires a $150,000 investment, although there's some talk this could rise to $200,000 in the near future. Qualified investments include real estate, buying or setting up an active business, government projects, stocks and securities, sustainable tourism infrastructure, or reforestation project, which only require a $100,000 investment if that's your thing. All of these three visa pathways will lead to permanent residency after 3 years and citizenship after 7. There's also the family route. If you marry a Costa Rican or have a Costa Rican born child, there's no income test at all, and it moves you much faster towards permanent resident status. However, it's crucially important that you're aware of the current backlogs that the permanent resident system is experiencing. In late 2025, there were 38,000 permanent residency applications pending, and the wait times that used to be 6 to 8 months are now stretching 14, 18, sometimes even 24 months. A lot of that traces back to a cybersecurity breach in December of 2024 that set the whole system back even further. People who are serious about moving to Costa Rica and getting permanent residency in the country often recommend that you reserve a fixed $5,000 to $6,000 to get through this process with a lawyer and another $3,000 to $5,000 a year to maintain your status because the mandatory public health system requires every resident pay into it. While there's a lot of good things to say about Costa Rica, on the ground people have similar complaints and things they warn others about. Many people say they bought a property too soon after their vacation to the country and emphasize that a holiday in the country is very different from everyday life in the country. Others underestimate the actual cost of living or get frustrated with Tico time, which is how slow everything moves once you're dealing with any kind of paperwork or bureaucracy in the country. Beach towns often look incredible on Instagram, but a lot of people end up feeling very lonely and isolated in coastal towns, especially if they don't speak Spanish. One family actually moved back to San Jose to be closer to the country's medical infrastructure, and a good chunk of people who make the move end up leaving within 1 to 3 years. Almost every time it traces back to buying a house too fast before they actually knew the area or the lifestyle. So to conclude, Costa Rica's territorial tax system, the country's property rights, the healthcare, and the country's expat-friendly infrastructure are what keep drawing expats to the country. The country also has a very accessible range for expat visas from people from diverse backgrounds and lifestyles, but the system rewards people who are patient, financially secure, and willing to hire a good local attorney, not people who are looking for a fast, cheap residency. The country is also becoming much more expensive, especially by Latin American standards, and locals and expats on the ground both say that crime has increased over the past decade. That said, Costa Rica remains a viable option for people looking to move to Latin America and seeking a country with stable expat infrastructure. If your income lines up with the Digital Nomad Visa and you want to test the waters for a year, that's a great move. For long-term permanent residency, you'll need to go with the Rentista or Pensionado or investment routes, but you'll want to start your paperwork early and prepare for a long application process. If you found this video informative, be sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to check out our wealth preservation series of videos, which is coming up soon.